time for another coffee with Kilroy. Yes, I've done a few of these. And I've drank a lot of cups of coffee. And today I am returning to Fire and Movement, my continuing saga of these fire movements from past years that I picked up at my friendly local gaming store for a bargain. And I'm now up to number 33, March, April 1983. What were you doing March, April of 1983? I was in high school, wasn't I? Yeah, I think I was. Right. In this issue, we have GI Anvil of Victory and a special miniatures section. Plus, there's some other stuff I want to take a look at as we peruse Fire and Movement number 33. Here's the table of contents. We got the GI Anvil of Victory. Sea Power in the State. I don't know much, if anything, about this. I don't know if this is a board game or a computer game. I never really heard of it, so kind of something I'm going to have to read up on. And Wings, that's the other thing I really want to cover. This is Wings. This is a game designed by S. Craig Taylor Jr., who I first, I think he was with Battleline, but I first came across his games with Yaquinto, and he did a game called Air Force, and I think Wings kind of piggybacks off that. Of course, it's Wings is World War I and Air Force is World War II, and I think that Air Force was originally a Battleline game, and it's a plotted movement air game, which back then that was all the rage of having kind of plotted movement. And then we have a whole miniatures section in here. So I'm going to put this under my miniatures playlist as well, because you got a kind of a review of some of the state-of-the-art miniatures rule sets for 1983. And then we got War at First Bite, which is their ongoing coverage of computer war games, which I really didn't get into. I played some computer games back in the day, but I mean, 80s were, not everybody had a computer. And I mainly played kind of the arcade type games that were available and did not get into the war games because I liked pushing counters across paper maps. Here's some Hell's Highway, Gulf Strike, and Civil War. I have the Civil War. This is Victory Games ad here. Here's Crossfire, regular feature. Complete Strategist, yes. Been to the Complete Strategist many a time. This was the gaming mecca for me back in the day. Here's some more Simulations Canada ad here. Then we get to GI Anvil of Victory, and this is where I stopped at Squad Leader. I played Squad Leader, got Squad Leader, got Cross of Iron and Crescendo of Doom, and I think next up was GI Anvil of Victory, and I stopped at that point. I just didn't. I was going on to other things and felt like I wasn't playing all the Crescendo of Doom and Cross of Iron stuff for Squad Leader. In fact, I probably played Squad Leader mostly, just the base game and its scenarios more than this other stuff. And so I just didn't get to GI Anvil of Victory. I don't know why. But so this is a whole article about GI Anvil of Victory, which is the game of Western Front Tactical Warfare. This is from Avalon Hill, of course. The designer, design and development is Don Greenwood right here. And this is a whole review of that. And here's an example of play. This is scenario 41, swatting at tigers. Get a chance to see some of that. Sorry for the glare there. And here's the designer notes by Don Greenwood himself right there. And official errata right there. Look at that. We got this is a GI Anvil of Victory dedicated article. This is Sea Power in the State, a strategic study of World War II at sea, Simulations Canada, design, development, and graphics, Steven Newberg. It's got a map sheet and 400 counters, so I don't know about this game. So let me know what you think about this. I have not... solitaire playability is fair. I don't know much about this, so I'm going to read this article and see if I can find this on Noble Knight or someplace like that. The counters look relatively involved here. So we got AA value, anti-air, anti-sub. I would imagine nuclear, EW. It's like electronic warfare value, I imagine. All kinds of interesting stuff here. They got a map of the world there. Look at that. Very cool. Need to read up on that. If you know anything about that, let me know. Here's a who is who quiz. Oh, I'll have to take that later. And here's Wings. This is the other reason I picked this up. As I said, there's a smattering of these at my friendly local gaming store, all for like $1. So I just kind of pick up some as I go, and then have a little bit of coffee and talk about them with you. So this is from Quinto, S. Craig Taylor Jr., and it's Tactical Air Combat 1916 and 1918. And it's a superb redefinition of the Air Force system while simultaneously creating a distinct identity of its own. And since I'm slurring my words, I need to have some coffee. Time for me to sober up. Here's the Air Force mechanics, and which I said before is a little bit of a plotted movement. I covered a little bit of Air Force, but only as kind of a survey of other games. I probably should do a deep dive on it itself. But I really liked the look of it and studied the aircraft. They have their own little like data cards that are really kind of cool. And I think Wings, as you can see here, kind of does the same thing. Here's kind of that data card, giving you all the stats for the airplane, but it's kind of how it flies, what it can do, maneuvers, and the like. But as you can see here, you're going to have to plot it out. You're going to have to write out your moves, and then you compare notes and see where you end up and if you can shoot at somebody. But here's an example of play here. Very involved. And here's the designer notes for this. I looked at this game a lot. I wanted a good World War I air game. Was always fascinated by World War I and the Red Baron and all that stuff. And I think Red Baron, the old game, I had looked at that, but I got Ace of Aces, which is the flip book game, point of view game. Really liked that, and then I never picked this up. But it looked like a lot of effort. I thought Air Force was a lot of effort. I only played Air Force a very little bit because I thought it kind of taxed me too much with my wee little brain back then. All right, here's The Language of Wargaming. This is by Thomas Marshall. Impact of Wargaming is felt in other ways. I'll do a little close-up of that so you can get I think that's the comedy section. Here's the cartoons of the day. You can get a freeze frame of that. And then there's this miniature section right here. What's a nice magazine like F&M doing in a thing like miniatures by John Hill of all people. So this is talking about some of the miniature rules of the day and give you some feel for it. A lot of imagery here, but it's all black and white. Here's the complete Brigadier. You got a lot of different miniature systems. I never really got into miniatures. I played some Napoleonic miniatures and some fantasy miniatures back in junior high and high school, but I did not. I found out at a very, very early age I did not have the skill, the patience, or the time for it. I just wanted to get on to other things. That's why I liked board games. I get right to it after I read 40 pages of rules. All right, War at First Bite. There's always a section here about war games, and so they're not going to skimp on it in this issue. They're going to give you your fill. Computer games, computer war games. They're going to give you a fill of that as well. Oh, here's some articles. Here's a little round top by 3W. Gettysburg High Tide of the Confederacy. So these are some different articles here on some games coming out. A Vietnam RPG. This has got to be Recon. Yes, I've covered that in the past. Take a look at some of my other stuff there. Army Group North. Squab Leader. Look at that. That's a little play on words there. And out of the wrapper, some board games and miniature rules and books that they've just picked up. And here's Wargamers Market. Complete Strategist is talked about there. And there you have it. That is my review. Oh, I got that game. I got the republishing of that. I don't think I have the West End version of it. Anyway, that is my coverage of Fire and Movement number 33, GI Anvil of Victory, special miniatures section, and some other goodies in here, mainly wings. That was one of the things that caught my eye as I saw this. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, and let me know your thoughts on this walk down memory lane. Take care. Thanks for watching.